What's really going on behind Jungkook's sweet smile? Why was Taehyung suddenly silent and refused to speak after their meeting in America? An unexpected incident breaks out behind the scenes, and this time, not even the army is ready to accept this harsh reality. Is this Hybe's fault? Or was it a betrayal hidden all along? What has Jungkook been hiding all this time? Taehyung can't say anything. This incident shook the army. Have you ever seen someone smile? Is his heart screaming for help? Have you ever felt an invisible wound that left a deep imprint on the heart of the person you trusted the most? And now, after so many years together, will one secret kept for too long be able to destroy the friendship that is considered the purest in the history of entertainment? It all started in a seemingly ordinary moment. America, the country of freedom, where the stars go further for the sake of their dreams. But who would have thought this country is also the setting for one of the most controversial moments ever involving Jungkook. And even more so, when the secret was finally leaked, the first person who could not hide his surprise, it's Kim Taehyung. Jungkook appears to be in Los Angeles. Ordinary? No. This time, she wasn't there for the photo shoot, concert rehearsals, or the official schedule HYB announced. No announcement. No timetable was released. But fan cameras captured his movements, getting into an exclusive place that is not even listed in the list of official HYB cooperation. What was Jungkook doing there? All questions stem from a short 17-second recording. In the video, Jungkook appears to be wearing a black hoodie, wearing glasses, and trying to hide his face. But no one can fool the army's eye. As soon as the video spread, speculation began to emerge. And the most surprising thing was when one of the staffers who was accidentally heard in the video said one sentence. He has no choice. This is a direct order. He had to do it before evening. What does that phrase mean? Who gave the order? And why Jungkook looks like cornered? The news gets even wilder when Taehyung, who is also in America for his personal agenda, is spotted in the same place the next day. Someone from HYB's team reportedly told Taehyung about Jungkook's activities. No one knows what was actually said to him. But after hearing that, Taehyung immediately stopped his short interview with a famous fashion brand and chose to get into the car without saying anything. Not to the media, not to the manager, not even for fans. The silence was louder than a scream. Because when Taehyung chose silence, the army knew something's not right. Then, a few days later, something much more surprising happened. Jungkook uploaded a black and white photo of himself, with no caption, no smiling expression, just a blank stare at the camera. For ordinary fans, maybe it's just an artistic photo. But for the true army who have followed Jungkook's every emotional shift over the years, they know. It was a silent call, an inner scream that cannot be expressed in words. After that, rumors surfaced that HYB forced Jungkook to attend a secret meeting with an international investor outside of their official contract. The project was never approved by the other BTS members, and Jungkook was sent alone to shed his teenage image and adopt an adult persona full of controversy. But wait, why does all this feel like a trap? What happens if Jungkook actually refuses in the first place? What happens if there is a pressure, even a threat, that we don't know about? And more importantly, did HYB really force Jungkook for the sake of a project that wasn't part of the group's official deal? If true, why did they choose to hide it from Taehyung? The questions continued to flow among the army. Many of those who claimed to cry after learning the truth are slowly revealed. And the climax came when Taehyung made a live broadcast with a face they'd never seen before. Not sad, not angry, but disappointed. Sometimes, even the closest people can keep something from you, Taehyung said in the live, without naming anyone. But with just that one sentence, the world seemed to freeze. Army knows. Everybody knows. That's not an empty phrase. What was Jungkook's reaction? For almost a week, Jungkook didn't upload anything. Doesn't show up anywhere. Some fans mentioned that he was seen at the airport with a puffy face, like crying. Witnesses say Jungkook met Taehyung at a Korean restaurant in Manhattan, and from a distance, it looked like a very emotional meeting. What are they talking about? Did Jungkook explain everything? Will Taehyung listen? Or rather, is the wound too deep to repair? Division is not an easy word to say in the BTS world. They are a symbol of unity, strength, and family. But this time, even families can be hurt. ARMY began to ask HYB questions openly. Why was Jungkook placed in such a position? Why is there no transparency? And why, after everything was revealed, HYB chose Mum, and in the midst of all that silence, there was one voice from someone who had not interfered in the drama between the members. Jin did on his personal platform. Jin wrote, "Don't rush to blame anyone. Sometimes people are forced to be who they don't want to be." One word, 1,000 meanings. Is that a warning to the ARMY not to judge Jungkook? Or is it a subtle allusion to the side that forces the youngest brother to act out of bounds? What is clear? This incident has shaken the dynamics in BTS's body. Many fans began to question whether Jungkook could still be himself under the same management. Can creative and emotional freedom still be maintained? And one big question continues to reverberate in the hearts of millions of ARMY around the world. Will Jungkook's secret ruin the bond that has been built for more than a decade? It's too early to conclude. But one thing is certain. The truth, however bitter, is finally beginning to surface. And when someone like Taehyung, who is known as one of the most cheerful and loving members, is speechless, we know that this wound is not an ordinary wound. Will their friendship survive? Will Jungkook choose to speak? Dan. Will HYB finally explain what really happened? But is it all just a coincidence? Or have we, in fact, been blinded by a sweet story carefully assembled by hands far from the camera? Is the closeness of Jungkook and Taehyung that had seemed so natural actually been undermined long ago by things that were never revealed to the public? One thing that continues to be in the spotlight is the sudden change in the way they interact in public. If in the past the two were famous as a duo with the most natural chemistry, from spontaneous touches to seemingly unscripted chuckles, now everything feels too rigid, too careful, as if they are hiding something by force. Even in the last variety show, the moment when they usually throw jokes at each other is filled only with empty smiles that feel alien. Taehyung was caught looking away several times as Jungkook spoke. While Jungkook seemed to be more often alone after the recording session was over, there was one incident that was never reported by the mainstream media, but went viral in the international fan community. While backstage for the final group photo shoot before the break of their respective solo projects, a professional photographer who took part shared the astonishing experience via his personal social media account, which was shortly deleted. He claimed to see Taehyung approaching Jungkook secretly behind the curtain studio. They speak silently, only hand movements and eye gazes. The photographer wrote, "It felt like goodbye." The sentence immediately spread and sparked an even bigger wave of speculation, and we come back to the one turning point of it all, Jungkook's decision to leave early and visit his family. Many thought it was ordinary personal time, but it turns out, before the departure, he had asked to meet personally with Taehyung. A source from one of their stylists revealed that the meeting lasted no more than 7 minutes, and when it came out, the two looked different. Taehyung didn't say a word, and Jungkook looked at the closed door with a clenched fist. Why didn't HYB release a recording of that moment, when they always have documentation of every BTS member meeting, even the smallest ones? Is it too emotional for the public? Or is it too honest? Too dangerous, because it can show something that does not fit with the image you want to maintain. This question grew more painful as the ARMY began to realize that there were recurring patterns of narrative manipulation on the part of management. One of them is how the current V did a short live broadcast from his home and accidentally mentioned the word video that should not be saved. Shortly after, the broadcast was removed, although it was watched by hundreds of thousands of people. What is the meaning of the unreleased video about him and Jungkook? What makes this all the more difficult to understand is how the two are still publicly supporting each other, symbolically at least. Jungkook once liked one of Taehyung's art projects. Taehyung also included a lyric in his solo song. "Even if I lose a friend, I'll still hold the memory." Is it just poetry? Or a hidden confession? ARMY, who followed them from the beginning, certainly remembers the early days of BTS when V and JK were almost inseparable. They share food, sleep next to each other, and even exchange personal items. In one old documentary, Jungkook said that Taehyung is the one who makes me feel at home in the midst of all the chaos. That statement now feels like a shadow of the distant past. There is also a wild, but not entirely negligible, theory that this emotional separation has something to do with the difference in vision in their careers. Taehyung is more into classical art and vintage music. If it's all about personal schedules, why does the atmosphere feel so quiet and heavy? Why do simple interactions such as a greeting, a touch on the shoulder, or a small smile suddenly disappear? The army is no ordinary observer. They know when something isn't right. And this time, the signal was too strong to ignore. Do you remember when they were sitting side by side in a promotional interview session? Usually, Taehyung will make fun of Jungkook or vice versa. But in one interview broadcast the week before Jungkook walked away from the group's activities, neither of them struck up a spontaneous conversation. Even when the MC asked about a favorite moment during rehearsals, Taehyung replied quietly, the moment when there was no camera. While Jungkook just lowered his head, played the ring on his finger, and was silent. Isn't this very unusual? We can tell. Maybe they're tired. But being tired never made them stop smiling at each other. This time, it looks exactly the opposite. Rigidity. Cold. An inconvenience that is hidden behind professionalism. And the fact that all of this happened before Jungkook went to see his family reinforces the notion that there was something serious. Because exactly one day after his departure, an IG story upload appeared from HYB's personal assistant account, which was immediately deleted in 7 minutes. In the upload, look short writing. Hopefully this doesn't make things any more complicated. There is no context, no name, but why should it be removed? And why did the upload time coincide with the moment Jungkook left the dorm? What makes it all the more suspicious is the appearance of CCTV footage in Korean online communities claiming to record an emotional farewell in HYB's basement. In the blurry video, it appears that two male figures very similar to Jungkook and Taehyung are talking, with Taehyung's hand movements quite expressive, as if begging or explaining something. Jungkook seemed to just stand staring at the floor. Until finally, he stepped away. Did I ask the video real? There is no official confirmation. But interestingly, all the accounts that spread it were deleted in just under 12 hours. Some uploaders even claimed to receive digital alerts from unknown parties. Is this a protective measure or removal of evidence? And in the final public moment that brought them together, at the end, House Mini Showcase final concert, Taehyung was seen bowing deeply towards Jungkook, even though there was no public audience. Jungkook replied with a quick nod, then turned around, staring at the ceiling. No hugs, no touch, just a long silence. The crew around them were silent. Even the sound and lighting crew, who used to interact casually with them, seemed to keep their distance. One of the music editors posted a tweet that read, "Sometimes, we have to separate two lights so that they don't burn each other." ARMY began to wonder, is this a coincidence or a hidden form of symbolism? As the days went by, speculation grew wilder. Some say that Taehyung wanted to take a personal decision that management disapproved of, while Jungkook was asked to mediate. There is also a theory that one of them had considered a longer hiatus, but the decision did not go as expected. To be sure, both Jungkook and Taehyung are starting to change. Not in front of the camera, but in between seconds that only an observant eye can capture. ARMY's eye. We're not talking about teen dramas or fan-made scenarios. We are tracing real traces of emotional changes that can no longer be masked. Taehyung, who usually likes to share emotional playlists, now chooses quiet songs. The lyrics are like a call. Jungkook, who used to upload random moments, now only appears occasionally, and that too with a stiff expression. The most painful? When Taehyung appears in a short live broadcast and briefly whispers a barely audible phrase, "If you know everything, you may also choose to remain silent." It was his last sentence before shutting down the broadcast ahead of schedule. What's the point of all this? Are Jungkook and Taehyung really keeping such a big secret that it has to be buried by management strategies? Why was the evidence that should have been clear removed? And until when the ARMY can only guess from fragments of signs, not a few began to blame HYB. Allegations after allegations surfaced, especially after one of the former employees in the media division uploaded shocking sentences through a personal account, which was later locked down after the post went viral. We don't edit statements, we just follow orders. Orders from who? On what basis? And why should it involve the personal relationship